Hey, I'm Rin. Welcome to my channel. Today we'll be building the Herta in D&D. Thank you for the recommendations. I genuinely appreciate hearing from you guys. So then, what do we actually know about her? Well, she's an emanator of erudition, she was glanced at by news, she may also be powered by the remembrance somehow, and she's nigh unstoppable. I mean, there's a reason why she's one of the most powerful entities to exist in Honkai Star Rail. Madame Herta truly is a being to be reckoned with. Sorry, I don't know what came over me then. But anywho, we can get quite a lot of information about her, and we can use it to try and build around it to our liking. First off, we need to start with the foundations, those being race, class, ability scores, background feats, languages and proficiencies, and our dear Herta, yes I'm calling her that, also gets a companion that will come along with her during this journey. We also have magic and equipment for the end, and we'll be writing an interesting backstory for her to slot her into the D&D world. This is all for fun, so we're not gonna go too deeply into this. After all, we're just designing D&D characters for the sake of adding them into your games and not letting your DM know what you're actually doing. It's all for entertainment here, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. But anyway, moving on from this, let's start with the first part of this video, about our dear Madame Herta. I really do like Madame Herta. She's a fascinating character to me, not just because she's an emanator of news, but because she's quite a funny character. I guess that's what you get for being a genius. So what race would you give someone like her? Well, I think it's quite obvious. She's an elf. More specifically, a high elf. Am I calling her regal, beautiful, and immaculate? Yes, of course I am. Am I also calling her pompous, reclusive, and haughty? Of course, I am also calling her that. It's Herta we're talking about here. I'm also calling her old, also because, you know, elves. But yes, it gives her good bonuses to her intelligence, fitting for a genius member, and you get free cantrips and proficiencies in a few weapons. For classes, I went with a really interesting multi-class for her. It's not that unique though, I've built a character with this multi-class many times now. 4 levels in Wizard and 3 levels in Artificer. Is it a good build? Well, for an Artificer, yes. They really get nothing unless they multi-class. Am I mad at Wizard of the Coast about this? Maybe. Maybe I'm upset that Artificers are not even in the main manual of D&D. Maybe I'm upset that they are relegated to an expansion pack instead. Oh, but Artificers are so niche, Rin. They aren't even useful unless in specific situations. May I introduce you to the Ranger class? Okay, rant over. I needed to get that off my chest. Onto a public video on YouTube. Anyway, Artificers! So I picked the Artillerist subclass for her because it just felt right for her as a genius from the Genius Society to also have these abilities. A creator specializing in chucking powerful spells at people and overwhelming her enemies with her sheer intellect and power. She's an enemy to be reckoned with, and all the classes that I've seen didn't really fit the vibe that I'm trying to go for, as someone who is confident in themselves and can overwhelm their enemies with their sheer will alone. You get some quite powerful abilities at your disposal with this subclass, such as the Eldritch Cannon. What are Eldritch Cannons? Depends on what flavor disaster you want to commit. You also get some curios too, if you'd like. Little trinkets Herta can tinker with if you want her to, or she can build them herself as a defense for the space station. Well, before the Antimatter Legion wiped some of them out. Anyway, as an Artificer, you also get some fun infusions that you can pick. I'll just name a few of them that I think are useful for her, and I feel I should have them lying around, so it's up to you if you want to use them or not. Enhanced Arcane Focus, which it gives a +2 spell attack rolls and ignores half cover. Mind Sharpener also allows users to save themselves from bad constitution saving throws. Replicate Magical Item is also very useful. Well, it replicates magical items, so yes. I picked Bag of Holding, by the way, because it's a lifesaver in D&D. But nothing compares to the final infusion I chose, which is Homunculus Servant. We'll get back to that later, but I think you all know where I'm going with this. Anyway, on to Wizard. Okay, remember the rant I said earlier when I talked about Artificers? Well, it might be a bit of a half-truth here. D&D is a fantasy world first and foremost, and artificers, as a class itself, it's more steampunk based, so it doesn't really fit into the immersion that most D&D games have, unless your DM is willing to bend the world a little bit so they have a little niche corner of the world for you. It's a reason why artificers aren't really allowed in many games, and it's also why I gave Herta a multi-class. If your DM isn't going to allow artificers into the game, you can just drop the artillerist part of her build and go pure wizard with her. It's not really nice, honestly, mainly because if you can't tell by now, I love artificers. It's one of my favorite classes, and it's kind of sad that you can't really play them sometimes. But let's be fair, they're such a cool class, I just want them to be more popular. Okay, wizard. I wanted to go with technomancy, but then I decided no. So I went with a classic that isn't a part of UA and fits Herta as a character. School of Evocation. Okay, maybe it isn't the best spell for her, but at the same time I didn't want to go with Sorcerer for her. Mainly because it doesn't feel right to make her a Sorcerer as a character, who is known for being knowledgeable and gains power from the knowledge she gains, but also because Evocation Wizardry just felt kind of right for her. Being able to control magic to the point of targeting specific enemies, finding said power to be second nature to you, and also if you want to ditch the artificer for one reason or another, you can also hit enemies even if they succeed. But anyway, for ability scores, intelligence should be the highest, then is wisdom, constitution, and then charisma. Dexterity and strength should be her lowest, but because of her elven heritage, you do get a +2 in dexterity. That might lift it higher than you probably wish to set it to. For background, I actually picked this one because of her mannerisms and because of the proficiencies that come with it. It's probably not the best fit for her backstory, but to an extent it works for the character that we're building. I gave her the noble background and it gives her a pedigree to be proud of. Use this wisely, by the way. For languages, I gave her Sylvan because of her ancestry as an elf, and also Celestial because this woman talks to gods. For proficiencies, I gave her the ability to use alchemy supplies, also the ability to play dragon chess as well, just for fun. She is also proficient in wood carving because of her artillerist class, and that's because it told me so. She's also proficient in nature, arcana, and she's an expert in investigation. I made sure of that with her skill expert feat, and it just works for her, I guess. Anyway, her companion, the homunculus. A little robot construct. I think we both know where this is going. If your DM allows it, you can flavor the homunculus to be a little prototype puppet Herta that follows you around and does your bidding if you please. They're immune to poison, can channel whatever magic you store in them, also have dark vision and a few little abilities. Perfect little creature to keep as company, so long as you want them to be. They're cute. Just don't forget about them. But moving on, we have her magic. I picked the ones that I felt were the best suited to her, but at the same time they aren't perfect. They're just cool references in my opinion, but they're interesting enough and I feel like they could be useful. The first spell I recommend is Ray of Frost because it uses the ice element. Second is Mage Hand, mainly because it's a reference to the strange hand imagery that surrounds her. Next up is Ice Knife because I can't find a spell that is similar to her skill, but this is close enough in my opinion. Chucking ice at your enemy and all. If that doesn't work for you, you can also flavor Magic Missile to take its place instead. I also gave her Puppet. It's a funny reference to the Herta puppets, without being completely obvious. I also recommend Mirror Image as a reference to her mirrors, of course. Finally, I'd give her Shatter. Not exactly a good reference to her ultimate, but summoning a power strong enough to erupt like thunder sounds close enough to me. Anyway, moving on from her wizardry spells, the artificer list I kinda picked the ones that felt right for her. There's a much longer list of it all, but I picked the ones that I would recommend when building her. Detect Magic, for example, because I feel like Herta would have a spell like that on hand. Shield, because I feel like it's useful for mages who don't get really good armor sets, and Featherfall because of her idol with her floating in place and such. You don't get the spell Fly yet, so it's the closest you get to that. For equipment, I'm gonna be safe and just recommend getting a staff and adding whatever your DM allows. But for the staff anyway, I would recommend describing it as key-shaped, flavoring it in the sense that it's similar to how it looks in game. Anyway though, let's move on to the story. How do I go about this one? Well, Madame Herta obviously deserves the best story written by mortals, but I'm sure she won't mind a simple tale like this one. Hopefully. Let's move on then. Here is the story I have for the Herta. Who can truly defy a lady like her? A stunning woman, brilliant even. She's overcome many obstacles in her life and always lands on top of it all. Why? Who would deny the fact that she's truly a genius among geniuses? Proud, arrogant, many words to describe a woman like her. Yes, no one could deny the fact that she's a prodigy born to surpass those who dare to grow close to her. But that doesn't mean that she is completely immune to criticism. At least that's what she has said to many who have called her cruel. She had saved her town once from destruction at the ripe age of 14. She had constructed powerful turrets at the age of 16 around the perimeter of her family estate. She had been gazed at by a god before. She's a one-in-a-million-years child, a gift, a talent, an insult to the mere mortals who roam this world. But it did not matter to her what others perceive her as. She knew who she was, and she did not wish to be dictated by others. She had spent many years of her life perfecting her talents and putting them to good use, spending centuries up within her tower, studying the truth of the universe to understand what it meant to be alive. But at the same time, studying one thing for so long can be tiring. Even if she had turned it into a game for herself, she needs something to keep her attention. She needs something a bit more interesting to feel better about herself. She cannot deny the fact that she had gotten rusty after years of being cooped up. She hadn't really done much to prove her worth in centuries, which feels more like a blip to her after so long of being separated from her distant youth. But the world shouldn't have changed too much from the last time she had stepped out into the world, should it? People are usually the same no matter where you go. After all, she's gifted, talented, proud and arrogant, all things to describe her as. A prodigy of her time, but still curious about what it means to exist in such a world. Maybe things might be different now in the new age. Or maybe she's too hopeful for no reason at all. And that's where I'm calling it. I hope it worked for you guys. I had to find a way to nerf her a bit because, first off, having an all-powerful Emanator as a D&D character does not make it fun for everyone, and it's likely you'll be scaling down the character a lot when you're starting the game with them. It would not make sense for a character who is technically ancient to be casting level 1 spells at their enemies when their actual feats are far more powerful and deadly than what is considered in the actual game compared to their backstory. So I didn't want to take away Herta's accomplishments because it's an integral part of her character, but I also didn't want her to be an overpowerful Mary Sue character. Instead, for D&D, I made her where she's an accomplished wizard who had spent way too many years detached around the world until all of their abilities went away because they haven't used it for many years. It's a better way. It will make people feel less angry when you play this character. You can also play her as an old warrior who is desperate to prove themselves again, but it doesn't really matter if you are gonna play that character or Herta. I'm not here to judge after all, I'm just here to entertain. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was worth your time. Like and subscribe if you like, and I'll see you next time. Take care.